Hello, we're going to work on finding some domain and range answers, and these are going to be a little bit different graphs. And one of the first things I'm going to kind of do is take a note here. I'm going to have this thing pop up where the edges are. Notice here's the left edge, the bottom edge, the right edge, and also the top edge and the right edge happen to be the same spot. So we kind of know that we're looking at these values right here. And I'm also going to have the points pop in. I have the left, there's the right and the top, and the bottom. And what I want to look at is this. In order to find the domain, I always want to go from left to right. And domain is the x value. And the x value here is -9. That's the lowest one. And as I go across, the highest x value is 7. So I'm going to have a -9 and a 7 in my domain. And domain always has an x. And because these dots are what I call solid or colored in, that means -9 is part of the answer and 7 is part of the answer. So I have the bar underneath the less than value sign right there. Now when I go to do the range, I want to go from the very bottom to the top, and I look at the y's. Well, the smallest y here is a -5. I'm going to go past that 1 up to a +5 here. So now range always has the letter y in it. My smallest was -5. My largest was 5. And notice that one's definitely easy to see that it has a bar. But is -5 part of the answer here? It is, because it touches that line. So therefore there was a bar on each of these. All right. So now let's look at this one. And I'm going to kind of do the same thing with my little square popping up here. Notice there's my far left and bottom, top and the right. Okay, so I hit those points there. And now I'm going to have the points come in. So we have the points. To do domain, I'm looking at the one furthest left. The x value furthest left is -7. I think it helps to write these points down. And my x value furthest to the right is 6. So I'll have between -7 and 6. And domain has an x. But notice, this one is the furthest left and it's an open circle. So therefore there is no bar, because I can get as close to -7 as I want, like -6.99999 forever, but never can quite be -7. However though, I still can be an answer of 6 over here. 6 is included, so it has the bar. Now let's look at the range. My range is -5 at the bottom to 6. Well, wait a minute though, I got a question. Is it this -5 or that -5? Well, the answer kind of is it's both -5s, but this one, it cannot equal -5, but can it equal -5 at this one? It sure can. So because I can equal it here, -5 is part of the solution with a bar. And notice the highest x value is not the one here with this one, but the one up here on this graph. So that's why I use this 6 and not that 5 for the range, because the lowest was a -5 and the highest was a 6. Now here's another one. Now notice I'm going to first off, here's my far left, my bottom, far right, and my top. Making that nice there, and I'm going to put the points coming in. And as I do my domain, it's the one furthest left, which is going to be a bit hard to see. I guess I'll slide up here a little bit on this one because of the screen. But the number that is the furthest left is the -3, and the one furthest right is 2. Now, are -3 and 2 part of the answer? No, because they are open circles. So notice there are no bars underneath these two this time. And looky here at this next one right here. What is my lowest y? Well, it's right here, which is what? -2. And the highest one is 7. Is -2, does it touch -2? It sure does. So -2 will have a bar. Remember, range has y. And then the highest one was a 7 there. All right? So now then we'll go back and we'll look at this next one. Oh, this one's a little straightforward, maybe a little easier. All right? So we're going to have that touching that right here. And it goes all the way up to right there. This point is -2, -9. And this point here is 6, 7. Ooh. As I read from left to right, I have the negative 2 is the x and the 6, and they touch on the negative 2, but there is no bar on the 6 because that is an open circle. And then for the range, we have the following right here. A bottom one's negative 9, which it can equal, and it goes up to 7, which it can not. So there's a bar with negative 9 and not one for the 7. Remember, domains have x's and range has y's. Ooh, what about this one? Well, I'm going to draw my little thing like this, because notice, I touch up here for sure, but these others just go to what? These are going to go to infinities, and this is going to go to negative infinity to the left and negative infinity down. And this was going to go to positive infinity on the right and negative infinity going down. So if I think about my domain, think about this. Oh, there's something wrong with this one that I need to fix. There are never bars with infinities. I think I did this real fast. There should not be a bar with the infinities. Everybody got that? But it's going to go from negative infinity here to positive infinity on the x value, because these values are going to keep going out like that and that forever and ever. And the range will be the same thing. It'll be going upright. It starts at 5 and goes down. Now the 5 should have a bar, but the infinities should not. Infinities never have bars. I will have to fix that on the next one. But note, there should be no bars on these. The only bar one should have a bar is that 5 right there. All right. So we'll look at these right here. The domain and the range here. Okay. Notice I kind of drew that out there because you go from negative infinity 3 all the way out to infinity 3 for my points. But notice I had a 3. The domain will be this. The negative infinity there to the... And notice this time I got it right. There are no bars with it. So, because the x's can be anything. But the y is only going to be what? It's a y equals. Y can only be 3, so I write it as y equals 3. All right. Now this time I have one up and down. Well, think about this here. I'm going to go from x value of negative 7 to positive infinity up here, and negative 7 and negative infinity down here. So the domain is only what? Negative 7, negative 7. So that just means that x equals negative 7. And the range will be the infinities from negative to the positive all the way around on that, or all real numbers. Another way you could say that. Okay? Ooh, this one's going to be a graph that goes forever here and forever there. So what do you think is going to happen? Those are going to be obviously infinity answers, and with no bars, from negative infinity to positive infinity. And, oh, this one's written backwards. It should be negative infinity to positive infinity. Got to check that. No, it's not. Take that back. This goes to positive infinity to negative infinity. It's right doing the x value. Got my things mixed up. Easy to do that. So the range is right. Negative infinity to infinity. Oh, now we got an easier one. Just the two things. Notice I have the point negative 2, 9 and the point 6, negative 7. So my domain, my furthest left x is negative 2. My furthest right x is 6. It can equal negative 2. It cannot equal 6 because it's open. And the range will be negative 7 to that 9. And negative 7 does not have is open, so it has no bar. And the 9 does have a bar. Ooh, this was kind of like that one we had earlier, except they're all closed in. Let's write down all our points. There are points pop in right there. And as we see this here, you can look so that we can see the answer. The furthest left x is negative 7. The furthest right x is a 6. And they do both have bars. The lowest y is a negative 5. And the highest one is the 6. And they both have the bars. So they will be part of the answer. They do touch those lines. So, and notice it was this 6, not that 5, because this is up a little higher than that one. And we can have all the values in between. All right, now we have this other one right here. Notice we have our little box like that I made. There's our left point, our right point, and our top point. It touches right up here. Our furthest left x is a negative 3, and our furthest right one is a 2. The negative 3 is colored in. It will be a bar. The 2 is not, so there is no bar. The range here, the smallest value is negative 7, and the highest one is a 2, and they both touch. It touches here, and it does touch there, so there are bars underneath both the less than signs. So that would be the answer to those right there. All right, back to this one right here. We have the domain and range. So We have the number at the far left right here, -9. Bottom one down here. And our numbers popped in. Our furthest value left is -9x, and the furthest right is 7. And the -9 does not have a bar. All right. And the 7 does. And then the lowest y value is -5. It does equal it. And the highest value is 5. It does equal that. So they both are correct. Those are domain and range problems.